Part 3 opens up with a couple trying to enter Pretty Lake City to save their son. As expected, the security guards stop them, so they go for plan B. The couple gets in their car and breaks through the fence in their high-speed car. Unfortunately, in the process, they run over a minefield and blow themselves up. The scene then shifts to Pretty Lake, where the young children are scavenging for food. As it has already been around 4 weeks of quarantine, food supplies around the city are decreasing, and citizens are starving. Wiley also seems to have some trouble with her health, and she returns home immediately. Inside, she looks for food in their kitchen, and when she does not find any, she decides to go out to get some fruit. Seeing this, Adam stops her and suggests that they need to get out of the town through a secret route that his father told him earlier. At first, she refuses, but when Adam tells her that the government might be lying to them, and that they need to do that for others, she agrees to accompany him. Later at night, the former inmate, Mark, notices a boy breaking into his bar and stealing food items. He stops the kid and asks him to return his items. To his surprise, the kid pulls out a knife and threatens to use it. To defend himself, Mark pushes the kid away, but the latter accidentally stabs himself in the stomach and dies on the spot. Distraught, Mark carries his body and belongings and drives away before anyone can see him. The following morning, Gord brings some supplies for the children at the orphanage, but Samantha, who is looking after the kids, reveals that the food will not be enough and that he needs to bring more. At the same time, Francis notices a bag kept beside the entrance of the orphanage. It's the bag of the dead kid from the previous night. She looks inside and finds a lot of canned foods. Seeing this, she immediately puts the bag in their truck and hides it. Meanwhile, Ronnie can be seen visiting Pat's cemetery and mourning over his death. Right then, he meets a girl named Wren, searching for food. Ronnie brings her to his house and offers her hot chocolate. Later, when the two are trying to get close, Tracy arrives and disturbs them. Ronnie takes Tracy to the other room and asks her to leave the house. Sadly, when they return, Wren is already gone and has also stolen his gun. Elsewhere, Adam and Wiley are seen walking through the tunnel and reaching the other side of the fence. They go to an old lady's house and pretend as if their car broke down a little further from there. The sweet old lady invites them inside and offers them some food. Soon, the police officers arrive there, searching for Adam and Wiley, but the lady lies to them and sends them away. She then tells Adam that the government is telling everyone that they are taking proper care of the people living in Pretty Lake. After Adam tells her the actual situation of Pretty Lake, she becomes sad and offers them more food. Next, Chuck notices Harrison and his friend giving money to the guards at the border in exchange for food supplies. He immediately visits Harrison at his place and suggests they lure the guard with enough money and fight for freedom. Hearing the amount of money, Harrison agrees to help him. Later at night, when Chuck informs about all this to Samantha, she also agrees to join them as she does not want to leave her brother. The next day, Wiley wakes up after facing some health issues and notices that the old lady is lying dead on the floor. Realizing that they transmitted the virus to her, she becomes devastated and expresses her desire to return to Pretty Lake so that no one else will die because of them. However, on their way back through the tunnel, they meet another man, Liam, who claims to have the cure for the virus. He mentions that he actually worked for Clarence. While they are talking, suddenly, they hear a loud bang, and debris starts falling inside the tunnel. Outside, as per the plan, Harrison and his friend lure the guard, showing him a bag full of money and compelling him to open the fence. Using this opportunity, Chuck shoots the guard from a distance and knocks him unconscious. After this, Samantha arrives there in a van, and the four drive outside the premises of Pretty Lake. To their bad luck, a military van is waiting for them on the other side and Samantha gets shot in her head. Everyone panics at the moment and Chuck drives them back to Pretty Lake. Meanwhile, Liam tells Adam that the authority has closed the exit of the tunnel and that they have to go to Pretty Lake as soon as they can. Surprisingly, when they step outside, they notice 3 helicopters moving towards Pretty Lake. Soon, the helicopters drop some boxes in the middle of the town and leave. Liam tells them that the boxes are for him, but Chuck and the rest stop him from opening them. They think that Liam is there to kill them rather than to help them. To confirm it, Chuck starts beating the hell out of Liam, but his reply remains the same. Chuck believes that escaping is the only way out, but when Adam reveals that they, too, escaped and killed an old lady, he agrees to comply with Liam. In the next scene, Wren enters Ronnie's house and returns his gun. She also brings him some food as compensation and apologizes for what she did before. Ronnie cannot control himself and gets intimate with her. After their thing, Wren asks him to help find her lost brother and hands him his photograph. Her brother is none other than the kid who was accidentally killed by Mark. Meanwhile, Adam, Chuck, and Wiley help Liam build up a lab for him. Liam tries to tell others that Adam is immune, but Adam stops him from doing so. After this, he uses Chuck's blood sample to show them how their blood cells are behaving. He then takes out a vial and asks someone to volunteer to check its effectiveness. As soon as he says so, Adam attacks him and injects it into Liam's own hand. He then mentions that they will now wait for some hours to see if it causes any effects on Liam. On the other hand, Gord kills their only remaining cow and decides to use it as food for the kids in the orphanage. However, opposite to his thinking, Frances decides to fight for herself rather than for others and drives away in Gord's pickup truck where he had kept all the beef for the children. She goes straight to Harrison and his group and provides them with the meat. Moments later, Gord also arrives there, but Harrison threatens him and sends him away. Back at the lab, Wiley decides to volunteer for the people and takes the vaccine, despite Adam trying to stop her. Sadly, when she walks out of the lab to go to the washroom, she feels pain in her stomach and falls to the ground. Liam takes a closer look at her and, with the help of an ultrasound, finds that there is a tumor growing inside her stomach. He also mentions that her kidneys and liver are shutting down and that they need to operate fast to save her. Meanwhile, having no other food sources left, Gord joins hands with Ronnie and asks for some help. Together, the two travel to Gord's childhood friend, Hannah, and her family and ask for some help from Hannah's husband, John. At first, he refuses to help and provide them with food supplies, but when Hannah tells him that they have enough food in the store and that they need to do the right thing, he agrees. John then provides Gord and Ronnie with whatever they can and asks them to never return back. Before leaving, Ronnie shows them the picture of Ren's brother and inquires if they have seen them somewhere. Fortunately, John recognizes the kid and tells him that the kid has been murdered and thrown in the woods. Later, Ronnie finds the body of the kid and puts it inside their truck. Following this, they reach the town and deliver the food to the orphanage. During this time, Ronnie uncovers the kid's corpse and Mark immediately recognizes him. In the next scene, Wiley regains consciousness and Adam and Chuck tell her about the tumor. Right then, Liam goes to the other room, pretending to take a dose to protect himself from the virus. Surprisingly, while the others are talking, Liam takes out a satellite phone from his box and messages his group, informing them that the people have started to trust him and that he has also successfully injected one of them. The following day, Ronnie takes the kid's dead body to the location that Ren provided him before. To his bad luck, as soon as he arrives there, a group of armed youth surrounds him, pointing guns at him. Ren takes a look at her dead brother and becomes devastated. After this, they take Ronnie inside a warehouse and ask him to reveal the truth. Ronnie tells them that the Mennonites, the tribe that Hannah and John belong to, found him in such a condition. Hearing this, the group decides to go to the Mennonites, but Ronnie assures them that they didn't kill him. After some time, Ren asks her men to get more eyes in town and help her find her brother's murderer. Back at the lab, after Wiley leaves to search food for her baby, Chuck and Adam start discussing with Liam why the government is not helping them. Liam tries his best to make them realize that he has the cure and wants everyone to take a shot. Furthermore, he mentions his mentor Art Carey, and as soon as Adam hears the name, he asks Chuck to handcuff Liam. He remembers the female prison guard asking him about Art Carey and suggests they should find her as she was the only one who lived past 22 years of age. Next, when Wiley reaches the orphanage and inquiries if they have some food for her child, Gord suggests she visit Mennonites. Wasting no time, she drives toward Mennonites, but her car breaks down in the middle of the road. Meanwhile, Ren talks to Ronnie and tells him that if he wants to leave he can. It appears as if she is the leader of her group. After a bit of deliberating, Ronnie decides to stay with her, so she shows him the place around. Ren mentions that the people living there used to follow her father's orders and learn how to be self-sufficient without relying on anyone from outside. She gives him a tour of their area and also shows him how they grow their food. At last, Ren tells him that if he wants to stay with them, he needs to contribute in his own way and sends him to a metal workshop. Moments later, Adam and Chuck enter the federal prison and start searching for the dead body of the female prison guard. After searching for a while, Adam finds the body, and when he checks her ID card, he gets to know that the name of the guard is Ellen Denshaw. He then enters her office and tries to access her laptop, but finds that all of the files are erased. As everything is related to Adam and his father, Chuck decides to leave Adam alone and walks out from there. In the following scene, Wiley somehow manages to reach the Mennonites' residence and asks for help. Hearing her voice, Hannah and her sister, Helen, take her inside the house and look after the baby. As Helen recently lost her child, she feeds the baby with her milk and tells Wiley that she did the right thing by bringing him there. After a while, John arrives and proposes to talk to Wiley in private. He tells Wiley that she needs to depart, as they cannot look after her. Surprisingly, he asks her to leave her child with them so that they can take good care of him. Hearing this, Wiley gets into a dilemma as she is unsure about the right choice. The next day, we can see Gord making the children plant different seeds so that they can be self-dependent. At the same time, Ronnie, who is working at a workshop, is approached by one of Ren's men. The man suggests that Ronnie be aware of her. He also claims that Ren uses the men and the place is not as friendly as she mentioned. Later at night, while having dinner, Ren is shown some photographs of Frances carrying the backpack of her dead brother, Eric. Meanwhile, Wiley leaves her son with the Mennonites and returns to the lab. There, she meets Chuck and reveals about her decision to leave her son, Jason. Chuck is obviously angry, but Wiley manages to calm him down by asserting that she did everything for Jason. She then asks him to unlock Liam's handcuff and urges Liam to check on her tumor. Surprisingly, when Liam looks at her tumor, he gets surprised. The tumor has drastically reduced, and Liam claims that it is because of the injection he gave her before. With this, Chuck also decides to get a dose of the vial. On the other hand, Adam finds a satellite phone under Ellen's desk, and when he turns it on, he sees messages from Liam. He then checks on Liam's profile and discovers that he actually works for a pharma company and is not a doctor. As soon as he finds this, he immediately rushes out of the prison to the lab. In the next scene, Chuck's girlfriend, Stacy, holds Mark hostage and stops him from confessing that he murdered Eric. She wants him to stay with her and obey her orders. Meanwhile, Harrison returns to the orphanage and Gord offers him some food. When Gord asks him about Frances, he tells him that she is waiting for him outside. Hearing this, Gord immediately walks outside and finds Frances standing there. He then hugs her and apologizes for not understanding her before. Gord asks her to wait for him while he goes inside the orphanage to get his belongings to return home. Suddenly, as soon as Gord leaves, Ren arrives there with her men and tries to take Frances away. Gord attempts to save his sister and tells Ren that Frances has nothing to do with her brother's death. However, Ren does not believe him and continues to pull Frances. Desperate to save his sister, Gord fights with them and gets shot twice. The episode ends with Ren and her men driving back and Frances running to her injured brother. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Stay still for the next part. Thanks for watching.